What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? Here I am in Marietta, Georgia, St. James Episcopal Cemetery. And let me tell you, that gate that I showed you when you came in, that's it. That's the entrance. And normally what I like to do is I like to walk around and show you the coming into the cemetery, the surroundings, maybe the streets around. And here's somebody coming in a car. I don't know what they're doing. It's such a small cemetery. I'm shocked to see somebody else here. But it's right in the middle. Like, Marietta is just a suburb of Georgia. And it's bizarre. And I did not expect this small of a cemetery, to say the least. And I thought it was like this huge cemetery. I always look up the grave, but I don't look up the cemetery really until I get to the place. But here I am, and I'm doing a video about JonBenet Ramsey. And of course, she was the 6-year-old that was murdered on Christmas Day, 1996. Normally what I like to do is I like to listen to music or something that puts me in a proper frame of mind when I'm doing a video, especially about a grave or true crime. And so I was listening to the 90s on Sirius XM, like the Sally radio. And it was great because it was playing Linger by Cranberries and Wicked Game. It was really putting me in a 90s sort of mood, like remembering the 90s. Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. And then Tootsie Roll by 69 Boys came on, which I had to turn off. And I put on some other 90s music and softer. And that gets me kind of thinking about what I'm going to talk about. I normally have bullet points on my hand. I didn't write any today. Not normally, but every now and again, just remember certain points I want to hit on. This case was so huge. I think I remember a lot about it. I'm going to do a voiceover to talk more about it. There are so many theories. The case remains unsolved to this day. A 6-year-old girl passed away. It became such a huge media story, and there was, punchlines and jokes. And I remember even when I was younger at the time thinking, it's still, like, even though I have a morbid sense of humor, maybe some of you do as well, dark sense of humor, I always remember it was a tiny little girl that was murdered. Is there time for jokes about that? I don't know. I don't think so. So we're going to walk. I'm going to find JonBenet's grave. I don't know if that gentleman is here to visit JonBenet, but there's not that many graves here, but so that's a shot in the dark. But he looks to be like he's in the right area where JonBenet is, so I may have to walk around a bit first. And there's plenty of theories about what happened to her, and I'm going to touch on a couple of them. And I'm sure in the comment section, everybody will have a comment or an idea of what they think happened to JonBenet Ramsey. And that's fine. And discuss it. Who really knows? Are we ever going to know? Just a tiny little 6-year-old girl murdered, and still 25 years. It's been 25 years. Wow. Yeah, 25 years. This Christmas. Okay, let's take a look for JonBenet Ramsey's grave. It's pinpointed on Find a Grave, so it should be okay. I think I'm going this way, and let's walk through the cemetery. So here is JonBenet's grave here. So it's right when you come into the cemetery, straight ahead. And I'm being a little quiet because there's a gentleman right behind me visiting a loved one. And it reads JonBenet Patricia Ramsey, August 6, 1990 to December 25th, 1996. Love, purity, and joy, a gift to her family and the world, home in the peace of God. Named after her father, JonBenet, and her mother, Patricia, also called Patsy, JonBenet Patricia Ramsey was born on August 6, 1990 in Atlanta, Georgia. The youngest of 2 children, her older brother was 9 at the time of her murder, JonBenet was an outgoing Southern girl who enjoyed being the center of attention. By age 6, she had already won multiple pageant titles, thanks to her bouncy blonde hair, a poised smile, and glittery costumes. Her father, a multimillionaire businessman, and her mother, who's also a former beauty queen, Miss West Virginia of 1977, doted on their daughter in every way they could. Their luxurious home was plush with everything JonBenet needed to live a comfortable life. So it turns out the gentleman right there, walking, very, very nice man. He's on the board of the cemetery and the church, and he was giving me some information about the grave. And this is set up because in the winter, see this pathway here? There's a bit of a path. So many people come out here that it turns to mush and the ground will give right away because it's so well worn. So they keep this here so people can't really go right up to it. He says they get a lot of people all the time, always. He said it's pretty much people come in and it's right to the grave, and these get replaced every few months when they get a little ragged or something. And it's a really well manicured cemetery, and he's taking great care of it. That's JonBenet's older sister. Now I figured out that would be on her father's side because JonBenet's mother, of course, passed away in 2006. She was born in 1956. She'd be 13 when she had her, so that makes sense. So that would be JonBenet's older sister on her father's side. Now, I believe this grave here is JonBenet's grandparents, parents of Patricia, so her maternal grandparents, right here. Told me lots of things. Said there's lots of children buried here with their mother because a lot of dying during childbirth, and he said there's a fair amount here, more than he's seen at other cemeteries. Gosh, he gave me quite a bit of information, very, very helpful. Now this, I don't think has anything to do with JonBenet's grave. He only lived till 2 years old. That's, a year and a bit. That's just heartbreaking. But he said the people come out here and they sit on the bench and they just reflect on JonBenet. She had a big impact on a lot of people's lives. I hadn't had time to stop to really get what I wanted to get, so I just got 2 little rocks, one for her and one for her mother. That's the sign that I've been here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what happened or what possibly happened to JonBenet Ramsey 25 years ago. On the morning of December 26, 1996, Patsy called the police after finding a 3-page ransom note demanding $118,000 for her daughter's safe return. The girl's body, however, was discovered in the basement later that afternoon. JonBenet had a fracture to her skull, she had been sexually assaulted, and she was strangled with a garrote made from one of Patsy's paintbrushes. According to the coroner's report, JonBenet's official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma, and her death was classified as a homicide. Upon arriving at the initial crime scene, the Boulder Police Department had made crucial errors that compromised the investigation. Among the mistakes made, John was allowed to move his daughter's body from the basement, and he and Patsy were not interviewed separately during initial questioning. In the subsequent years, no major leads were made, although the Ramseys became the prime suspects. Much of the public viewed the parents as guilty after hearing about evidence that did not paint them in the most innocent light. John and Patsy gave inconsistent stories. Their media appearances made them appear culpable. The cryptic ransom note was discovered to be written on paper found at their house, and fiber retrieved from the duct tape that bound JonBenet's body matched the same fiber on Patsy's clothes. In December 1999, the Boulder grand jury voted to indict John and Patsy for their alleged role in their daughter's murder. However, Boulder District Attorney Alex Hunter decided not to charge them, citing insufficient evidence. After the case was dropped, the Ramsey family returned to Atlanta, Georgia to escape the media glare and released the 2001 memoir, The Death of Innocence. 4 years later, Patsy succumbed to ovarian cancer at the age of 49. John claims he has lost his entire family fortune after being a multimillionaire in the 1990s. In 2016, JonBenet's brother Burke made a surprising appearance on the Dr. Phil show, breaking his 20-year silence about the case but bringing no new evidence to the story. Countless books, documentaries, and true crime shows have featured their own theories about JonBenet's murder. Outside of the Ramsey family, the media has also reported on others deemed suspicious, from the convicted child sex offender to the housekeeper to the electrician to even the town Santa. However, none of these people have been charged. Patricia's reads, grace, love, and faithfulness through all. Maybe some of you might think, oh, that sucks, or that's awful with the yellow tape around, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's keeping people safe that come out to visit, and it's actually kind of saying, yeah, it's okay to come and visit JonBenet and her mom, maybe the family if you're a member of the family, sort of thing. But it's a lot of people that never knew JonBenet that come out here, so it's to keep people safe from not sinking into the ground a little bit, because it gets so muddy. Atlanta gets rainy and cold a little bit in the winter. Nothing like we have up north or other parts where you may be watching. It's very sweltering. Even it's December right now, and the bugs are out, and it's hot out. But January, February can get a little colder and rainier and wetter. I was thinking about that case, like the young girl Gabby who just went missing recently, and Brian Laundrie, the boyfriend, and what's going on with that case and all that. And that was a huge sensation. And my friend and I were talking about it just the other day, as if I was ever going to do something about it. I thought, well, maybe if I'm down that area, in Florida, there's something, or where she actually disappeared in the West. And it's hard to explain. If you weren't around in the 90s, imagine the case of Gabby times 100. That was the JonBenet case. It was everywhere, and it was nonstop media coverage of what happened to this girl and of the family. And it was one of the biggest cases, and still to this day, there's still an open investigation. And yeah, it's just one of those cases that just absolutely fascinated people, and the media picked up on it really fast, and it was nationwide then worldwide. What happened to this little girl? What happened to JonBenet Ramsey? The father, John, and the brother Burke, they're still alive. I'm not sure where they're living. Of course, it took place in Colorado. That's where they were living at the time. But discuss below. And I have theories, but I don't know. I'm just glad I was able to come out here, and it's Christmas time, and I would have liked to have brought something for Christmas. I didn't make the connection that it was 25 years. It's 25 years, almost to the day. Rest in peace, JonBenet Ramsey. Rest in peace to your mom, Patricia. And let's I'll have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, prosperous 2022. Sweet young girl. It's terrible. And yeah, at the heart of it all, this murder mystery and all these details that people are fascinated about. Don't forget, it's a little girl, 6-year-old girl, who was murdered. And she's who has to be remembered. We want to find out who did it, but she's who has to be remembered. Okay, I've gone on. I know. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Peace out. So it's the next day. I'm back here at St. James Episcopal Cemetery at JonBenet's grave, and I couldn't really sleep last night because I'm from Canada and I'm down south right now during Christmas time, and I'm very disconnected from Christmas. Like, I'm not even thinking about it really. And I'm in a t-shirt for one thing, and if I was back in Toronto in Canada, I would be in a lot of layers. It's pretty cold there around now. And big ups to Canada. I love Canada, by the way. and Toronto. But it's bothering me that it's Christmas time and I bring rocks to every grave. I've explained it many times on my channel. It's a sign of respect. It's a Jewish tradition, a tradition I grew up with. But I wanted to bring something for Christmas for JonBenet and her mother and the family that's here. I just thought it was more appropriate. I'm still going to continue to leave rocks at graves. That's what I do, and it's important to me to do that. But I'm going to hang these from the tree right here if I can get around to it somehow. And yeah, just something little. So there we go. Just add those there. And these ones here, and then so a candy cane for the young girl. Actually, we'll put it there. Just makes me feel a little bit better because it's Christmas time.